piece at a time.
Good morning. Is everybody in a safe place today? It's awfully nice to have you here. I'm Barbara Jarrell. I'm the pastor here at All Souls. One of the first things I do is ask if there's anyone present who would be uncomfortable if, while people are speaking in the pulpit, they take off their masks. Does anyone prefer that not to happen? Thank you. I think it's a little easier to watch talking heads when you can see them talking. This is a church built on covenant, not creed. We're together around our covenant, our promises, our agreements, our pledges to try to live the principles we share out in the world and in community with one another. That means we don't have to think alike to acknowledge the same love that sustains everybody and the principle that we most strive to generate with our lives and in the world around us. To that end, whoever you are, whatever your age, race, origin, orientation, background, status, ability, identity, if you care to be here with us, you're welcome. We do all we can to treat respectfully people with differing paths and differing opinions and to learn from one another on the things that we don't share. Often that means listening more than talking. It's not an easy thing to do, but it is our covenant and it is our challenge. So we front load the service with a little bit of information and ask our board person of the day, commonly called the B-Pod, to come and give us some information. Rebecca Tuggle, if you would please.
Thank you, Barbara. Good morning, everybody. All right, so starting off with applauding those who showed up for Building and Grounds yesterday, which would be the usual suspects, Eric First, Tina Hines, and Dawn Subasic on the outside, as well as myself, Susan Caldwell, Jennifer Russell, and Susan Yellett all kind of worked on the inside. But a round of applause for everybody that showed up. We have to take care of this building and these grounds ourselves and encourage you to come out. It's the second Saturday of the month from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Please, we could use all the help we can get. As you can see, masks are still required here inside the church. We no longer require vaccinations, but we do encourage them. Volunteer of the month this month is Amanda Lawrence, and for those of you who do not know Amanda, please stay around and get to know Amanda, because she's one of the joys, I swear. In addition to basically being the Food Folks and Fun Committee all by herself, she's been on the board of directors of All Souls. She's been on worship committee. She does a lot around here, and while she may not be here today, that's probably because school just started this week. She is a brilliant STEM educator here in Caddo Parish. A round of applause for Amanda Lawrence. And each month here at All Souls, we do what we call give away the plate. Any monies that we get that are not directed to pledges are given to someone who embodies our principles as Unitarian Universalists. And this month, that is Basic Necessities Diaper Bank, which is now housed at the Highland Center. They provide period products as well as diapers and incontinence products to people who need them, anyone who needs them. And they are very worthwhile. Debbie Hollis, who is a friend of this congregation, is heading that up, and she's doing a remarkable job. And if you wanted to know, they do serve a large portion of Northwest Louisiana, but they are part of the Alliance for Period Supplies and the National Diaper Bank Network. We have a special congregational meeting today after the service. It's going to be carried via Zoom as well for those of you who cannot be here with us. It's going to be updating our articles of incorporation to reflect language that fits with the 501c3 requirements of the IRS. That was a lot of legalese. And a gentle reminder that it takes all of us here at All Souls to keep this congregation and this church going. To that end, we no longer pass the baskets. We actually have our collection baskets stationed at the entry to the sanctuary. So any donations that you would like to make, we would be more than happy to accept, and we gratefully thank you for those, and thank you for being here. Good morning and welcome.
Hi, good morning. I'm Susan Caldwell. I'm the Director of Religious Education, and I wanted to highlight a couple of upcoming events. 2 weeks from today, we will have our annual, what we call the water communion or the water ceremony, where we encourage people to bring water from whatever your summer has been. And it's not just a travel log, although if you've been somewhere far away and exciting and you brought water back, that's great. We will have symbolic water on hand if you haven't. But also if you got your first apartment or you sent your child off to college, or, just the water can symbolize all kinds of life experiences. If you watch tadpoles in a puddle with your toddler, we want to know that stuff. So we encourage you to bring your water. We pour the water into a common vessel. We boil it and filter it, but I do want to say nobody ever drinks it. It is saved for baby dedications, ritual purposes around the church. And I believe we give our graduates, too, a little vial to take with them when they leave. So, and after the service that day, many thanks to Kathy Osuch and Mike Roberts. They are going to host our annual end of summer swim party. Also that'll be 2 weeks again from today, August 28th. On September 11th, we will be presenting the Emerson Award, which we do every year to someone within the community who embodies the values and principles of liberal religion. And this year, we are proud to say that we will be presenting that award to Kathleen Pittman from the Hope Medical Group. So we hope that, yeah. So we hope that you will join us on that day. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Catch your breath. Let your shoulders fall away from your ears. And try to just let your thoughts be with you here, now. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour. Simple, right? Again, please. Gathered here in the mystery of the hour. Gathered here in one strong bond. Gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit. This hour, this sanctuary, bears witness to the life of the Spirit that dwells in us and among us. In this light, we seek to raise up those things that are precious and beautiful, holy and just for our reverence. Our church is the bridge between the past and the future, linking those who walk in the way of spirit. May our ancestors, those who have preceded us, lend us their senses that we may know another world is on the way. Beloved community, a place where peace can live among us, in us, through us. May it be breathed into life with our participation in that creation. Would you remain seated and join me, please, in the second verse of Gather the Spirit. Last week we did the first verse of this Jim Scott song. Susan, well, I guess you can just play a regular intro. I was going to ask you to play through it, but never mind. Okay. Gather the spirit of heart and mind, seeds for the sowing are laid in store, nurtured in love and conscience refined, with body and spirit united once more. Gather gather in hope, compassion, and strength, gather to celebrate once again. I am going to ask Ava Kate Russell Peck to please come, or Jackson, did you want to help? No? Okay. To come lead the first part of our chalice lighting. And if I got your last name wrong, I apologize. Just, here we go.
With mouth, hands, and heart, we care for the earth and for each other.
Thank you. Thank you. You're good at that. In faith, together we light this small scrap of light. We bask in the warmth and the heat of these days. With lightened hearts and quickened senses, in gratitude and in faith, even when those things can be hard to come by. Here, we can ignite them together. We have a unison affirmation that the words will be on the screen. I invite you to rise in body or spirit and say it with us as you will. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve human need, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the sacred. Thus do we covenant with each other. Thank you. Our opening song is When the Spirit Says Do. And if you're tired and sleepy, maybe this will wake you up a little bit. I have an extra verse in it this time. Well, it's between dancing and laughing. But, okay. When the Spirit says do, you got to do when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you got to do. Oh Lord, you got to do when the Spirit says do. Spirit says do, 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 Spirit says do. You got to sing when the Spirit says sing. When the Spirit says sing, you got to sing. Oh Lord, you got to sing when the Spirit says sing. Spirit says sing, 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 Spirit says sing. You got to dance when the Spirit says dance. You got to dance when the Spirit says dance. When the Spirit says dance, you got to dance, oh Lord. You got to dance when the Spirit says dance. 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 Dance. You got to look when the Spirit says look. You got to look when the Spirit says look. When the Spirit says look, you got to look, oh Lord. You got to look when the Spirit says look. 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 You got to laugh when the Spirit says laugh. You gotta laugh when the Spirit says. When the Spirit says laugh, you got to laugh, oh Lord. You got to laugh when the Spirit says laugh. 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 You got to shout. You got to shout when the Spirit says shout. When the Spirit says shout, you got to shout, oh Lord. You got to shout when the Spirit says shout. 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 We're gonna do everything when the Spirit says do. When the Spirit says do, you got to do, oh Lord. You got to do when the Spirit says do. 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 Why, thank you, Miss Susan. All right, please be seated. Are you a little more awake? Got to develop your clapping calluses.
And your big cord hands. Okay, is it, yeah, can you hear me? Now, we tried this morning and it worked without feeding back, so all right. So we just sang, you got to look when the Spirit says look, right? And so today Reverend Barbara is talking about body and spirit united as one. And we think sometimes of getting our mind and body and spirit in alignment with each other. And one of the ways we can do that, because not everybody has the temperament just to sit and meditate, although I encourage you try it, even if you try it for a minute, even if you just sit and take 2 or 3 really deep breaths, like say 4 counts in, 8 counts out. Or if you were ever a wind player in your life, you do as many counts out as you need to do, because I have found that my pattern doesn't always go with everybody else's. But anyway, I want to talk a little bit about looking at things from a different perspective, and I'm going to show you some pictures here. And I've started out with kind of an easy one, that a little bit different view, sometimes a tiny view, sometimes maybe not, of things that are familiar in this life. And so the kids have done some of these before, and so I told them every now and then, we'll let the grown-ups try one. But this one's kind of easy, I think. This one I'm starting you out a little gentle. It's a watermelon? Is that what you think it is? Anybody else got another guess? I believe your sister did have her hand up, but yes, it's a strawberry, right? Let's see the next. It's a bunch of strawberries, right? Ooh, what is this? It's definitely water. What kind of a body of water? What, Ava? What? Say it again. I didn't. It's beside a pool. Interesting thought, and I think I know where you're going with that. Now hold that thought. Jackson? It's either an ocean or a pond. Okay, let's go with that. Guess, maybe. I'm not saying. Anybody else got any ideas? We'll let the grown-ups. What is it? It looks like coffee. I think we exist on much the same plane. I see coffee a lot of places too. Anybody else got a guess before we show you what it is? Puddle. I think Bennett, ding, 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 ding. I think Bennett has the answer. Let's see it. Look at there. It's a puddle, and a little kid playing in the puddle. So see, when you have that, just a tiny view, how many other things do we see from just a tiny view? What is that, Ava? It's beside a pool. Yeah. Let's see it. This is actually an all-soul swim party from a number of years ago. I think several of the little kids in that group have graduated. So let's go to the next one. What's that? You think it's a flower? What else? Anybody else got any other guesses? Let's find out. You're right, Jackson. It's a flower. Let's go to the next one. Oh. Okay, a chair. Yeah, John. Oh, I think it's the ceiling in here, huh? That's interesting. Jackson said a chair. You see a leg? Yeah. You see skin. Okay. Anybody else want to take a guess? It's a relaxing scene by a pool with a chair. So you were right about the chair. Let's see the next one. What is this? Any grown-ups want to take a guess? I know you guys know. What is it, Jackson? It's a type of instrument, yeah. What is it? It's what? Say it a little bit louder. It's one of my family members playing an instrument. It could be. Let's see. It's actually a marching baritone. You're okay for not knowing that right off the bat. All right. Okay, this one's a little harder. You're actually going to get two pictures leading up to this one. Yeah, any idea what that is? Don't go to the next one yet. Any ideas? Something brown. Yeah, yeah. What? Sand, that's a reasonable guess for what it looks like. Kind of has that wavy pattern in it. What is it? Mud? Another good guess based on what you can see. Anybody else? Let's see the next one. Is that any better? You think it's the chalice? What do we think? Let's see the next one. How about that? Yeah. Okay, let's go to the next one. Oh, this is another one I'm going to give you two. What do you think this is? Let's let the grown-ups try this one. A log. Yeah, look at the textures. That's certainly a possibility. Any other guesses? What? Salad, is that what you said? Oh, sourdough. It does look remarkably like that sometimes, that's true. Let's see the second one. Any new guesses? Okay, I'll give a hint to your family anyway that Jennifer should take a crack at this one. It's an elephant, yeah. Let's see that. Yeah. See, that was just the detail of his mouth. Okay, let's go to the next one. Drew Brees' jersey. That's absolutely correct. Some things are just, in the blood. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, take a look at this one. And y'all, we're gonna see if the grown-ups can give it a shot. Piano. I think you might be right. Let's see the whole picture. Not only the piano, but the whole inside of the church. I think it was rain or fog. Okay, go then. Now this is a little different. Wait a sec. This is a little bit different. Instead of the tiny view, this is just a little bit different. Does any of the grown-ups have an idea? I'm gonna let y'all. Very good. It's an aerial photo of this church, of the room we're sitting in. And this is a view you don't see all the time. This is actually a view from down the nature trail. And more. And that's the church. So we all have just our own limited vision, right? We see kind of through the aperture, through the lens of our own life. And as Barbara has a song that says, "My own life has shaped my whole understanding." Thank you. Barbara has a song that says, my one life has shaped my whole understanding. And it's important to remember that. So when you have a chance to just sit and look at ordinary things from a little different perspective, it kind of helps your mind loosen up and prepare to look at maybe bigger, maybe more important things, maybe things and people that you don't necessarily understand. To remember to try and get, that small, that closer picture, but also that wider picture from further away. So with that, let's sing the kids and teachers out. Go now in peace, go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
If you will, close your eyes for a little while. Take a couple of nice, deep, easy breaths. Relax and let the furniture hold you for a time. Now, as best you can, feel your toes and the bottom of your feet. What kind of sensation is there? As we go along with this, if you encounter some tension, simply, silently tell yourself to let it go. and move on. Just for now. Check in with your ankles and calves and shins and thighs. Buttocks and abdomen, back muscles. Chest and neck and shoulders. Your ears, cheeks and jaws, eyes, nose, brows. Now feel the top of your head, and if you can, imagine it opening. And with that opening, become aware of your thoughts. Now try to sense the space in which your thoughts are happening. The room your thinking comes from. How vast is that space? Is it small and tight or expansive so that you find no edge? Can you imagine your body being that big? Or must then the body be inside that space? Find there peace and stillness of spirit. Find there the strength, wholeness, and beauty that you are. As we come now to our candle lighting, you're welcome to come forward as you wish to light a candle reflecting a concern or a celebration or a wish, anything that's on your heart or mind at this time. Early this past week, one of the daily readings that I received was from an English writer, philosopher, and polymath named John Ruskin. Ruskin died in 1900. But he wrote, "The greatest thing a human soul ever does in this world is to see something and tell what it saw in a plain way. Hundreds of people can talk for one who can think, but thousands can think for one who can see. To see clearly is poetry, prophecy, and religion all in one. Here ends the quote. Once again, that quote set me thinking about the 2000 film Bagger Vance. It's about a once great local golf hero turned veteran haunted by his PTSD from World War I, named Juna, who gets cornered into playing in a huge professional golf tournament with the top players of his time. He winds up being caddied and coached by a somewhat enigmatic or esoteric vagabond of a guy named Bagger Vance. Now, Bagger sees clearly and deeply into the troubled veteran and golfer. Apparently, the film rang true enough with me that I bring it up here from time to time. And the pearls of wisdom seem to pop in my head when I think of seeing. And that's been true for more than 20 years. So at just the right point in the tournament, Bagger tells or begins to talk to Juna about seeing the field. Initially, he tells him, all we got to do is get ourselves out of its way, to let it choose us. Can't see it as some dragon you got to slay. You got to look with soft eyes. See the place where the tides and seasons and turning of the earth all come together, where everything that is becomes one. You got to seek that place with your soul, Juna. Seek it with your hands. Don't think about it. Feel it. Last Sunday, we sang the first verse of the Jim Scott hymn, Gathered Here. This week, as I settled into a theme for the week, it occurred to me that the second verse of that same hymn addressed body and spirit being united as one. So this week, we sang that verse and borrowed its phrasing for the title. Now, years ago here at All Souls, we went through phases that I think were happening in business and organizations all over the country of taking at least truncated versions of some widely popular tool for helping people understand one another. And here what we did were short versions of the Myers-Briggs personality typing test. In Myers-Briggs, we get described and categorized somewhere on a spectrum by some of our tendencies, either as an introvert or extrovert, intuitor or sensor, thinker or feeler, judger or perceiver. And that's not about being judgmental, but it is about being able to be decisive. I'm a perceiver, so or maybe used to be more so than I am. Anyway, my guess is that the notion of a resonant flow that permeates body and spirit somehow bypasses the cognitive, intellectual piece of the human puzzle, somehow bypassing the intellectual human piece of the puzzle, makes some personality types more comfortable than other personality types. I've already outed myself as a perceiver. Still, I see people from every one of those personality types who are deeply engaged in the quest for a lifelong body/spirit journey. So then this week, as is surprisingly frequently true, these sources aren't conferring with one another ahead of time, but often readings will have a thread that runs through all of them, or through many of them, and this week, body and spirit seem to run through a lot of the readings that I had, meditative readings or and reflections and quotes. And I know that a number of others here among this group received some of the same readings in your morning emails, and I hope that you don't mind me regularly reiterating some of the things that we receive that you've already heard during the week. There are those who are comfortable living in their skin. I think they're more rare than we might think. There are also among us people who grew up in very, very conservative traditions where Richard Rohr this week was talking about the Christian religious tradition. He's a Catholic priest. He was talking about the Christian religious tradition working for centuries from a more Plato-oriented position on the physical being than with the lessons that Jesus is attributed with teaching. So for centuries and generations, denying the body, distancing and blaming and shaming bodies was part of purifying your spirit in some of those traditions. But now he also commented on the fact that we have swung the pendulum back to the other extreme, and we are worshiping the body and taking it to gyms and preoccupied with those gyms and salons and decorating our bodies. And it's to the detriment of the balance of the deeper self. We get too caught up in how we look or how we might look to others. In all of the ways that that word can be taken, look. And if we're not caught up in that and we're not worshiping the body or trying to distance ourselves from the things that it tells us, many of us are numbing out, whether it's with shopping or whether it's with food or alcohol, video games, television, internet, being busy, playing games, something so that we don't have to hear the emanations of that vast space that is at us. It's us. An author that I have read a good bit of, is also one of the original teachers from the Center for Action and Contemplation. She's an Episcopal priest named Cynthia Bourgeot. According to Cynthia Bourgeot, our bodies and their natural movements can offer us spiritual insights in a way that the intellectual mind simply cannot. She said it's amazing how those learning experiences invariably wind up among our most vivid childhood memories. From learning to ride a bicycle when I was 7, I came to know something about interior balance. Getting the hang of something from the inside out. From learning to float on water, I discovered that trust means relaxing and letting something else hold you up. From ecstatic lovemaking, I learned not to fear dissolving into oneness. The language of spiritual transformation is already written deeply within our bodies. In terms of the spiritual journey, trying to find faith with the intellectual center is something like trying to play a violin with a saw. It's simply the wrong tool for the job. This is one reason why all religious traditions have universally insisted that religious life cannot be done with the mind alone. Body and spirit united as one. Body, mind, and spirit. Heart and soul. I was going to have Susan play the duet with me for and maybe try to trade off some of playing the two parts so we could both have fun. But if you're old enough, you'll remember that song. And if you're not old enough, maybe we'll share it one of these days. Yeah, we'll teach it to you. But that's the biggest single impediment to spiritual becoming, to think that we can get there just by thinking about it or trying to figure it out with our heads. Parenthetically, I would add a refueling center for all of the justice work that we want to do in this world can be found in that same vast, open, still space. Once again, as an encouragement to make intentional time for in your life to notice and feel and cultivate your awareness of yourself in a sensory way, rather than using your saw. I invite you to, in the middle of activity, try to find the stillness. Open to the flow of nature. Open to God as you understand God. The soup. The collective unconscious, subconscious, unconscious. That movie has a happy ending. This one is still being written. I know that we can watch what goes on in the world and let it make us anxious. I invite you, as Ms. Susan was saying, to actively seek different perspectives. Stand farther back, stand closer up. Listen different ways. The Irish poet and philosopher John O'Donohue, who died in 2008, put it this way: your mind can deceive you and put all kinds of barriers between you and your own nature. But your body does not lie. Your body tells you, if you attend to it, how your life is, whether you are living from your soul or from the labyrinth of your own negativity. The human body is the most complex, refined, and harmonious totality. Your body is, in essence, a crowd of different members who work in harmony to make your belonging in the world possible. That body many of us may have been shamed about. The body of us, many of us, may have been told to deny. The one we have worked for decades now to befriend and find home in. In this world that can bat us back and forth with the day's events, the week's weariness, or year's lessons, feed yourself with time to feel your senses aside from or outside of the tensions and worries of life. In that vast openness where you and all that is are one. May you find here and there that body and spirit are united as one. Feel some peace and know in a way that comes from someplace other than your own thoughts. It's looking from there that we see others and can speak in a way that simply puts things that are otherwise complicated. I have us doing 2 verses of Wake Now My Senses instead of 5 or 6. But I am going to follow it with something that requires that we be active again, or think about being active, at least. But we're only doing 2 verses of it as well. So, rise in body or spirit. Wake now my senses and feel the earth call. Feel the deep power of being in all. Keep with the web of creation your vow. Giving, receiving as love shows us how. Wake now my vision of ministry clear. Brighten my pathway with radiance here. Mingle my calling with all who will share. Work for the planet transformed by our care. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and bad times too. Let it be a dance. Let a dance learn to dance. Let your body learn to bend. And like a willow in the wind, let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Learn to follow, learn to lead. Feel the rhythm, feel the need. To reap the harvest, plant good times and bad times too. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you? Through the good times and bad times too. Let it be a dance. It's so strange to tell whether y'all are awake or asleep out there when you're covered up and sitting still. As we endeavor to notice the stirrings in this world that unite our senses, our bodies, and spirits, permeating more deeply heart and soul, mind and spirits, with all that is beyond our formulations, may we awaken to more and more moments filled with the deep experience of wholeness. May we speak, think, and see more clearly. Ultimate grace in all senses and tenses, make invisible things visible, the voiceless heard, lay what is hidden before us, let what is confusing clarify, as hardened hearts grow soft to the touch. May we come in fullness with gratefulness and faithfulness to one another. May we speak in kind conversing, disclosing our truths with care, expressing our practical wisdom to learn of its practical limits. For the world was not meant to be possessed by a singular truth, but to be built together upon relationships. May our eyes seek to appreciate, our breaths to dedicate power, our hands to warm each other. When loving fearlessly, we are invincible. When dreaming together, we are infinite. Remember that when things start to rattle your bones. Go in peace. Ashe, namaste, amen. Blessed be.